well, both, frankly. I think teachers and parents, we as adults, have abdicated authority and responsibility. And children depend on us to push back and to show them the way, to guide them and lead them. And unfortunately, I'd say over the last 40 to 50 years, we've lost the whole concept of adult authority. And parents and teachers want to be friends with the kids as opposed to being the adult in authority.
Yeah.
You've had a big asking. You said, how much do you love your country?
Yeah.
How much do you love the values that you claim to defend? Do you love them enough to tweet under your own name?
Yeah.
Do you love them enough to change your child's school to one that's less woke?
Yeah.
Ignore the impact on your social status?
Yeah.
Do you love them enough to do more than simply chat to your friends who already agree with you at dinner parties? For heaven's sake, man, you said, stand up and be counted. As Russell Crowe says in the film Gladiator, a clip you regularly play to your staff, hold the line, stay with me, what we do in life echoes in eternity.
That's right.
I wanted to cheer that.
Yeah.
Not because I think you're conservative,
Yeah.
but because actually these used to be values
Yes.
which most British people held. And I suspect a lot more still do than people think.
Well, and what I was trying to say to them is, if you think these things, then get up and say it. For goodness sakes. And after I spoke to them, a woman stopped me on her bike on the street and she said, I'm going to speak out more, I'm going to say what I think. And I thought, right, that's what we need to do. Because too many people are quiet about what
I totally agree. There is a silent majority. They're getting a little noisier, but they're all kowtowed by cancel culture.
Exactly.
Because the woke left have been basically terrorizing people.
That's right.
What happens if the 90% of the normal people that tolerate everything tolerate the 10% who are intolerant? Then the intolerant will take over because they will not tolerate your tolerance because they're intolerant. That's why you cannot have unlimited tolerance. Okay. This is Parenting Beyond Behaviors on YouTube if you want to watch the whole thing.
So I'm Alexandra Lilly, and this is Donna Palmer, and we're just going to touch a little bit on the identity crisis when it comes to the animals. Little story. I have a friend who I hadn't seen in a very long time. She lived right next door to me, and she came over, and her daughter's now attending a different school. And she was telling me that there was cat litter in the bathrooms, and I really, truly had a hard time believing her because I had never heard about this. And she was saying that some kids are identifying as cats.
When Alexandra told me that, I was like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even know what to think. Like,
Yeah.
But then we decided to do some research.
Yeah.
Because we're like, okay, this can't be real.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just one kid telling a story.
Right.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
But as we did some research, we started to realize this is something that is
What's
real.
going on? It's not just this one school. There was more schools and more people talking about it.
Her granddaughter, they just got a cat. They probably had the cat about a month or so. And she realized that her granddaughter, who was just like about 2.5, was really imitating the cat, which is fine. Like, kids, they pretend play. Every day there's some different animal. That's okay.
Yeah.
But she was crawling she was, walking like the cat. She was meowing. She was licking her lips, doing everything that the cat was doing.
They're doing it
all the time. It's becoming a habit.
Right.
And she's like, I thought that was strange. And I guess in her, she just felt like, okay, this is something I need to address. And she said, I kept saying to her, okay, you're a little girl, you're not a cat. And start reinforcing, right? And I know sometimes we might think, oh, that's a little extreme and we don't need to do that.
And
exactly.
Everything's fine.
But based on
what's going on.
Exactly. I saw an article where a teacher was saying that the kids has gone so far in identifying with the cat that when they ask them a question, they're looking for an answer, but they get a meow as a response. So, I mean...
See, this is just a way, any child that doesn't want to learn, all they have to do is say, I identify as a cat or a dog, and now they don't have to they don't even have to answer questions in class. They don't have to do anything, pay attention or do anything except be a cat or a dog.
If you really seriously think about it, whether you're experiencing it or not, it's just good to be aware of what's happening.
Right.
Because it's real.
Right.
It's real. And that led us to, we were thinking about some of the kids that we have in our program, and we thought about one child in particular who really thought he was a dinosaur.
Right. Yeah.
And this was not just pretend play. It was not just,
Yeah.
it was something that this kid really believed he was a dinosaur. He would behave like a dinosaur. He would, roar like a dinosaur. He was so engrossed in the land of dinosaurs. And it really got in the way of his learning.
Right. Yes.
It
Yeah.
really, really got in the way of his learning. So now when we evaluated all of that information that we already had but never really paid attention to it, we feel like this is really an important topic to talk about. And
It's like, what you got a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, and you got your choice between it being a dinosaur, a dog, a cat, or have to actually do work and learn how to read and write and do arithmetic. What is the child going to pick if he's child-led? He's going to pick, I would pick, I'm 60 years old, I'd pick the dinosaur. Come on!
and
Something just to be aware of.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So as parents, don't be alarmed and just be aware.
Yeah.
Now, just a quick tip, okay? If you feel that your child is indulging a little bit too much and pretending a little bit too much to be an animal, redirect the behavior. Be mindful you don't want to do it where it's going to create a sense of shame or guilt or anything like that.
Yeah.
You really want to gently redirect your child.
See, this is why single mothers are horrible. They're horrible people. They're destroying our society. Okay, you don't. They're talking. Keep in mind, they're talking about a 2.5-year-old here. Okay, if your 2.5-year-old is pretending to be an animal too much. I mean, if it's happening, no big deal. All kids pretend to be animals. But if he's literally doing it all day long and he's getting too crazy about it, you know what I mean? Yeah. If you're a dad, just be like, hey, quit being. Pretending you're a cat, you're a pet boy, you're a big boy or whatever. You're a girl. If you're a mom, yes, you should redirect the child, but not into some. What is it with these women? And they always think that a 3-year-old should have some kind of philosophical conversation with them to teach them about what's right and what's wrong and what's this and what's that. You don't teach a 3-year-old. You tell a 3-year-old. If you teach a 3-year-old, you're an idiot, okay? A 3-year-old is they literally just learned how to talk and walk. What are you going to teach them? You can't first teach them how to read, teach them how to write, do some arithmetic, then you can get into these philosophical debates that you're having with your children, you idiots.
And help your child to understand, what's pretend and what's real and the different.
That's what I'm talking about. If you're the dad and you have time, you should redirect. If you're a mother, you should redirect, right? But if the dad doesn't have time, you should just tell the kid, stop doing that. You're being weird. That's it. The kid isn't going to feel shame or anything. He's just going to stop doing it, start playing something else. Dad says, go play with that ball instead. You know what I mean? The kid isn't going to be having any shame. He's 2.5 years old, 3 years old. He isn't going to be thinking anything. He's an idiot. He's a total moron. He's basically one step up from a vegetable, a human vegetable. It's in a coma, or you know what I mean? You just literally walked out of your womb. All right? This kid has no thoughts like that. But if you redirect, you don't redirect trying to teach him. No, you redirect saying, hey, Stop being pretending you're an animal. You've done that long enough. Let's play this game over here. Let's play ball, or let's play dolls, or let's play whatever. Depending on what your kid likes or whatever. You just direct them out. You don't have to explain anything. Stop explaining stuff to 3-year-olds. That's how you confuse your kids. You teach them stuff that they ain't ready to learn, you idiots. Oh, I'm going to have feel stuff. And what's funny is these women, they seem like decent women. But see, that's what it is about women. They always think that a 3-year-old, you're supposed to talk to them and conversate with them, have philosophical conversations, talk about Socrates with your 3-year-old, talk about sociology and all that kind of stuff, because that all makes sense. No, you tell the child. There's no debate about it. I mean, I can see if the child is older or whatever, then you might you're going to take different steps because now they're being crazy if they're older. But if a child, if they're just like 5, 6, 7, even 8, 9, 10, you just tell them. What is so hard about that? That is your job. It's not, I hear so many single mothers say how it's not their, not their right to direct and teach their child. It's not their right. It's not. That's right. It's not your right. It's your freaking duty. It's your freaking duty to do that. That is literally your entire job is to do that. And you're like, nope, I can't do it. It's not my right. You know what I'm going to do? Next time I have a job, I'm going to go in and tell my boss, oh, it's not my right to stack those stuff over there, move this or do that, whatever my job is. It's not my right to do that. He's going to be like that. No, it's your duty. Go, like that's what your job is. Just like a parent is to direct and teach.
The difference between animals and the difference between people, and just guide them gently.
See, and tell them the difference between the people and animals, and to have a big conversation with your 3-year-old. I know you say, hey, you're not an animal. The cat over here that's a pet, he's an animal. You're not an animal, you're a kid. That's the end of the conversation. You don't have some big conversation. You just tell them. That's what they want. They don't know anything because they're idiots. They're little kids. So if you don't tell them, they're going to make up their own crap, which is most likely going to be stupid, right? Because they just came out of your womb, right? So their ideas are crap. They're idiotic ideas.
Not many people know that we have furries in Colorado schools. Have you heard about this, Jimmy? Yeah, kids identifying as cats. It sounds absolutely ridiculous, but it's happening all over Colorado. And schools are tolerating it. It's insane. What on earth are we doing? Knock it off. Schools, put your foot down. Like, stop it. Let's get back to teaching basics and not allow this woke ideological stuff infiltrate our schools. And it is happening here in Colorado. It's why I moved from Boulder Valley to Douglas County, because it was happening in my kids' schools 4 years ago.
To this, it has happened again. Kids dressing up as furries and demanding litter boxes in school bathrooms. In North Dakota, one state legislator has a bill to prevent such foolishness if it were to happen. Quote, a board of a school district, a public or private school, or a teacher in a public or private school may not adopt a policy establishing or providing a place, facility, school program, or accommodation that caters to a student's perception of being an animal species other than human. That is actually a bill now before the North Dakota State Legislature. Furries, aka people who dress up like and sometimes even act like or try to act like animals, is a real thing. State Rep Lori Van Winkle proposed the bill and joins us now from North Dakota. It's good to see you, ma'am. We appreciate it. Thank you. Do we have any confirmed sightings of furries in North Dakota schools?
Thanks, Leland, for having me. I don't specifically have a confirmed number on that for you, but the talk is that these kids want to identify as being cats or dogs, and actually the latest one I heard lately was a rock, and therefore that student doesn't talk in class because rocks don't talk. So this is what our teachers are having to try to navigate when they should be able to be focused on teaching children.
I think anybody agrees that
games.
Anybody agrees that if this was happening in schools, it would be a problem. But I'm wondering, of all the issues in North Dakota, if this is something that's actually happened yet.
I mean, the kids in our high school, I believe in 2021, when we were fighting some issues of COVID, there was talk that these kids were dressing up as cats and demanding that litter boxes be the next thing that they would want, and it is happening in other states. I know it's happening in Minnesota as well. This really wasn't the basis of what I was attempting to cover in the bill. It just made a provision for the fact that
what were you attempting to cover?
Actually, my bill is the premise of the bill is to protect children and male and female sexes in the school system.
So this
and
is
the
about
secondary
bathrooms?
provision. The secondary provision was that if somebody wanted to identify as a non-human, that also would not be an accommodation that the